Good morning, sixth grade. Happy Friday. Today we're starting on a new lesson, chapter 11, lesson 6. Here we go. We're going to deal with congruency and transformation. So let's see where we can find that information at. So we're on Google Classroom, as you know. Go over here to the classwork, click on that, scroll all the way down here to chapter 11. Click on your chapter 11, and we are down here at 11-6. Okay, so let's pull up the notes. Let's go over some of this information here. Okay, dealing here with congruency and transformations. Now, remember, congruency sounds like the word congruent because it comes directly from it. And congruent means equal. So we're going to be dealing with the same types of figures. They should be identical. They should be exactly the same. They should be congruent. Transformations. Remember, we talked about transformations before. Those are our slides, our rotations, our flips, all those different things we'll be looking at here in a bit. So let's scroll down here and let's see what we have here. Okay, identifying congruency. So it says here, two figures are congruent if the second can be obtained from the first by a series of rotations, reflections, and or translations. Okay, basically what we're saying is here is we have two figures that are exactly the same. Can I move them around so they fit exactly on top of each other so they become congruent? It means they're exactly the same shape, exactly the same size, the exact image. So if we take a look down here, it says examples. Determine if the two figures are congruent using transformation. So our transformations are going to be our rotations. Okay, that's if we can move it around a single point. Okay, we move it around. Okay, a reflection. Remember, think of the mirror. This side, so if I have a triangle pointing this way, guess what? The triangle ought to be the same thing over this side. So they're pointing towards each other. And then as we know, a translation is some type of a slide. We move some object. If I had my square here, or rectangle, I should say, and I slide it up this way, it should look exactly the same, but in a different location from there to there. Okay, so that's what we're going to be dealing with here. So let's take a look here. Determine the two figures are congruent using transformations. Explain your reasoning. Okay, now we have what's known as the pre-image. Okay, that's the image that we are basically starting with, and then we're going to our new image. So if I take a look here and I say, okay, I have ABC, triangle ABC. Is there some way I can put this over top of triangle XYZ? Okay. Yes, I can. Okay. So if I were to say yes, first of all, these look congruent. They are basically exactly the same. If I were to do a reflection, okay, if I put my line of reflection right here and I draw this same piece over here, that's not the best. Okay. So don't laugh. Okay. This would be my C prime. This is my B prime. And then this is my A prime. Okay. Down in here. Boom and boom. And boom in there. Okay, now I'm at this point. So far, I'm looking pretty good. Now, if I slide it down, I translate it down, also known as a slide. Okay, is this going to match with this? And yes, it is. It's absolutely going to be correct. We are good to go here. Okay, this one here can I go from A to B? Well, basically, if I rotate this over, boom. Yes, it will be exactly the same. Some type of a rotation. You could even say, hey, it's a rotation and a translation. Because if I rotate it, let's clear this, off of this point here, and I rotate it off of here, I'm going to get something that's going to look like this. Okay? Right like this here. Okay? Some type of rotation off of this point here. It's pretty bad here, but it should be off of this point here. And then I'm going to have to do a translation, a slide, okay, down to here, which will go directly over B. So yes, they are congruent. So very good so far. Not too bad, pretty basic so far. Let's take a look here. The biggest thing you want to first take a look at here. Are these shapes the same? Well, they sort of look like the same. I mean, I have this L shape that looks here and this L shape that looks here, but look at this little point over here, this square over here, and this square over here. Are they in the same locations? No. If I were to put my mirror image, so my line of reflection right down here, okay, it looks like, hey, it's a reflection. Yeah, I agree. But look at this box here and look at the location of this box here, okay? If I flip this over, okay, guess what? It's not going to work. So guess what? That is not congruent. Once again, let's look at this one over here. Here's my pre-image here. It looks like an upside down L, or we could say maybe a lowercase r. Does that look like this T figure here? No. So right there, you can automatically say they are not congruent. They are not exactly the same. Very good. Okay, pretty easy so far. I told you this would be an easy lesson, and it is so far. Okay, identifying transformations. We did this before. It says, if you have two congruent figures, congruent means same, you can determine the transformation or series of transformations, okay, that maps one figure onto the other by analyzing the orientation or relative position of the figures. Okay, so if we're doing a translation, remember, is a slide. So if you may want to write above here the word slide. It's some type of a slide. See if I can get this in here. Not too bad. Good, making those sound effects. You gotta love it. Okay, now we got our translation. Now, as you see here, boom, right here, it's going to be congruent. Length is the same. So the image is not changing, meaning this size, shape, length, width, height of the image has not changed at all. It's exactly the same and has the same orientation, which means it hasn't been rotated or flipped upside down, anything like that. Okay. It says, notice the segments are facing the same way. As you see here, we have AB, segment AB. A is at the bottom, B is at the top. Look down here. A prime's at the bottom, B prime's at the top. They're basically facing the same way. Okay, we can see this length is the same as this length. So this is known as a translation, also known as a slide. Then we have a reflection. Okay, once again, length is the same. Okay, length is going to be the same there. The size, shape, length, width, height, all that stuff has not changed there. Okay, but the orientation is reversed. Okay, just remember, think of looking in a mirror. If you have to, run upstairs, go look in your bathroom mirror, and raise your right hand. And then analyze what hand is being raised of your reflection. You're going to see it is your left. Try it. It's fun. Okay, but you can see that the orientation is reversed. Okay, it is reversed. Notice the segments are facing the opposite way. They're going the opposite directions. Okay, we can say, hey, from A to B, it's pointing to the right. Or we can say, hey, it has a positive slope. It's going left to right. It's going up. Now look at this one here. From A prime to B prime, we can say, hey, this is a negative slope. Okay, it's pointing left, let's say. Okay, pointing right, pointing left. They're going in opposite ways. So that is our reflection. Okay, that's our reflection across our line of reflection right there. Okay, then finally is a rotation. Once again, the length is the same, the height is the same, the width is the same, doesn't matter, everything's going to be congruent with that. But the orientation's changed because we're rotating it around a point, okay? As you notice, this here, this orientation is the same. This here is different, okay? Because we're rotating it around a point. Okay, very good. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Let's scroll down. Last little bit. Miss Martinez created a logo shown. What transformations could she have used if the letter D is the pre-image and P is the image itself? Okay. Are the figures congruent? Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look here. Let's start here with the letter D. Okay. Let's say here, if we rotate this P here off of this point here, we're going to do it in red. Here's my point of rotation here. If I rotate this P up here, okay, which means this is going to come up here and the P will come across here. It's going to look like this. So there's our rotation. Okay. Now, okay, or you know what, you can do this both ways. I'll show you two ways. Then we could do what? We could translate this down. We can translate down. No, it says here, hey, translate up. Well, what if I rotated it the other way? We can do that also. Okay, what if I rotated it off of this point down here? Okay, which means it rotates down this way. Okay, so basically I have off at this point, my P, my D now looks like a P, and it looks like this here. It's right there. So I rotated it. Which way is this? Counterclockwise. Okay, rotate counterclockwise, basically 180 degrees. And then I translated it up. Okay, so one up, which matched the P there. So yes, it is exactly the same. Yes, it is a rotation. Yes, it is a translation. But the translation could be up or down depending on which way you rotated it. Doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look here. I believe this is our last one here. Okay, it says the pattern below appears along the edge of a plate. What transformation could be used if the first figure is the pre-image? So right here is our pre-image right here. And the second figure is the image itself. Okay. So remember, like I said, there's different ways we can rotate. But here, what we're going to do first, we are going to rotate off of this point here. Okay. We're going to rotate from this point here. So it means we're going to take this and we're going to rotate it up here 90 degrees, which means it's going to come like this, and it's going to come like this, and it's going to come like this. Okay. So we've rotated it up. There's our rotation right there. Then guess what we have to do? We have to translate it down. We're going to slide it down on top of this image. So there's our translation down right there. So guys, pretty basic information, not very difficult at all. Not a whole lot of homework down here, as you can see down here. So make sure you get started on this homework, complete it. Monday is going to be a catch-up day, so you can also have the weekend too. Catch up on Sunday if you need to. That means you have Monday free. Think about that. That's just an option. So make sure you get all this information done. Make sure you get all caught up. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Enjoy.